Hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics. Hope you're all having a great night out there as we get ready to dig into these silver markets and some interesting, and we have some fun silver stories in there as well. I have one lined up for you that there's already a couple people I can picture them chuckling. We'll be gentle on this one, but we'll also have some fun and talk about silver's brilliant year validating the SilverBugs. I did a round on another one of those round tables today, and it was mentioning how it's interesting where, at least for the gold crowd, where we've had new record highs, they don't have to talk about one day anymore. It's happened already. Jerome Powell guaranteeing that it is going to continue to happen. Silver, at least we saw. I mean, think about, I know people are upset, is down, one day versus up the other, but gee, it really wasn't that long ago that we were sitting there watching silver tick around between $17, $18, $19, and at least we have had a rally. Personally interested to see what some of the mining companies, how their earnings reports look. Earnings reports, I guess there is an S at the end of earnings. Yes, earnings reports. When they get released in the third quarter, especially, I think you'll have a wider than normal disparity because also you have the COVID shutdown making the second quarter numbers look particularly low. And then we will see, especially a company like First Majestic, who withheld production when the price got hammered. And one of the reasons why I followed them so early on when I got into my own studies of silver, seeing that Keith Neumeyer understood that the market was rigged and taking that into account. And I thought that was a great example of seeing that type of decision play out later on. So anyway, why don't we dig into the silver price here where you can see the chart. I love the the red, that's Tuesday's chart there, and just, I'm sure. I don't know. I try not to. I mean, I think you guys know I like being positive. I'm not saying I always get there. It's at least my goal. And I don't. And I mean, I'm assuming CFTC commissioners have feelings too. But I don't know. I mean, that looks kind of weird. And, well, we'll get to the CFTC because they were at, it's great. They find Bank of Nova Scotia, and I love the way Eric Frey's put it. He's like, they're, patting themselves on the back. But what they find them for, the spoofing, and this fits Bart Chilton's definition of spoofing. Speaking of Bart Chilton, at SilverFest this weekend, September 11th to 13th, online and free to attend for investors or just silver enthusiasts, so you can come in and watch for free. One of the things we'll be doing is rebroadcasting Bart Chilton's interview that I did with him about a year and a half ago now, which really was a bit of a turning point in my journey doing this. Certainly, few new people found out that I sit here and talk about silver every night. And also really, but perhaps more significantly, confirmed a lot of what was long alleged. So it's really unfortunate, Bart. And I'll tell you what, another thing about Bart, very kind and encouraging. And he actually had mentioned, he said, when the book comes out, let me know and we can talk about it on his Boom Bust show, which I remember was really excited about when he said that. Obviously, I think as most people watching know, he did pass away about a month later. Would have been a lot of fun to talk with Bart about the book. I know there's some people who are critical of him and feel he should have done more. Everything I saw was that the man did what he knew to do. I find it's worthwhile to factor in that, he also worked for government all of his life. So I don't know that he was necessarily coming from an Austrian economics, Alex Jones, Lou Rockwell background. Maybe I might have a different perception on, certain details here or there, but the impression I got, I mean, he was darn supportive and encouraging of what I was doing. And would have been interesting to see, because I would have loved to see what he would be saying about stuff like this that happens so routinely. So anyway, hope Bart's soul is resting in peace wherever he may be right now. And but we'll be playing that interview, I believe that's Sunday night. Fortunately, I do have an updated schedule, which I will pull up. We'll take a look through before this one wraps up. So with that said, let's take a quick look at the gold price again. Finish silver right around 27 bucks, and we will see what the rest of this week holds. Here's the gold price, 1947-ish, let's call it. Quite a rally today. Was straddling the 1930, dipped a little lower, and then shot up, let's call it 30 bucks or so on the Kitco chart. So gold up at 1950, below its all-time highs established earlier this year, above $2,000. I'll have to check what was actually the high of that rally, but still above what we saw at the peak of 2011. And I think we're going to see gold trading above $2,000 sooner than later. Although, again, that's not to say that that will actually happen. Maybe that's what I think. But I guess that's somewhat of a guess. And I try and always factor that in and phrase things appropriately. I mean, I really don't claim to know what's going to happen in the short term, but in the long term, I mean, I don't see what other outcome possibly could happen. And anyway, so it will be fun. And I think if you have that perspective in mind, and you can just see this as an exciting movie that's going to have some twists and turns as it goes along, then I think that can help throughout the course of the rally and making clear-headed decisions. In either case, we will see how it goes as it goes along. But as we have tonight, the theme of this video, Silver's brilliant year validates longtime bugs enthusiasm. Nice to see on, it looks like it's a Bloomberg article. Was that really on Bloomberg? Talking to Ned Naylor Leyland, who was one of the people interviewed in the big Silver short book. Great investor over in London for Marion Global Investors, I believe it is. He runs the Marion Gold and Silver Fund, and is a big Silver fan. Was Chapter 9, I believe. I like this quote. I've been waiting since 2002 for the inevitable demise of the monetary system. Sounds kind of ominous, although I think we understand what he means. Although maybe even different from what one might think about that. I guess the way I think of it these days, or I would put it in perspective, less so even for anybody else, but just for my own mind, so that the world somewhat makes sense. I imagine government and central banking kind of similar to a mafia, or what you saw in Goodfellas or The Godfather. It really shakes people down, tax money, inflation dollars to fund these banks and governments, and these politicians that go in and say they're getting paid $200,000 a year and they come out with $40 million. So I think that's what he's getting at, and what a lot of people, or maybe some people at least, look forward. That's how I see it, where at some point, hopefully when the dollar cracks, it's not that life ends or that Armageddon comes, but basically that these guys can't steal and plunder whatever they feel like. And I don't know. I mean, I wonder, I remember it was interesting when I first started studying Austrian economics. A lot of the longtime scholars that I really respected would talk about how even had things been allowed to really crash in 2008, but be healed in a natural free market way, that even within a year or two, things could have been okay. And I would say, as I've thought about things more and studied more and read more, that I do believe the free market is that you know, it's like nature, or it just when you let it function. So similar to the body as well, when we actually let it function and don't put more of the junk that caused the problem in there, I find a lot of these things regulate themselves quite well. And so I don't know what the transition will be like. I guess the best I've been able to figure out is that, gee, if more people understood what, you know, we're talking about here, and you guys watch here, watch other places, and certainly there's a lot of great folks out there like Gerald Salente and David Morgan. These guys have been doing this for so long. So I think the more people understand what's happening, the less shooting each other in the street scenarios we have to think about. And it actually could be a lot of good things come out of this. So anyway, there is Ned, as you can see. Unfortunately, Ned had plans already this weekend and will not be able to make it to SilverFest, although he was invited. And but here's the fun part. But that gain is nothing to most SilverBugs, who foresee even higher prices because they believe more people will lose faith in the value of government-issued currency. If someone can explain to me how anyone could have any amount of faith in any of these governments or any of their currencies, that's almost mind-boggling to me. I get it, we're all conditioned, and, you know, government school, Pledge of Allegiance, really an affirmation to U.S. governmental systems. So we've been indoctrinated at an early age. What did Jeff Berwick call them? The public indoctrination system, which I think is fitting. Although, here's the fun part. Well, not everybody is on board, though. And I am corrected. I've said before I couldn't find anyone who could. Well, actually, maybe it's not correct. I said anyone who could provide a good counter argument of why silver wouldn't go higher. I don't know that Jeff has provided that, but I mean, let's look, not to take him out of context, so let's go look at the exact quote. But Jeff Christian, managing director of CPM Group, has heard the story before. These guys have been waiting for the collapse of the global financial system for 40 to 50 years. Nothing you can do can make them think they're looking at the world the wrong way. Well, I mean, I think the things that people at Gold and SilverBugs have been talking about for 40 to 50 years are happening now. I mean, the Fed's dishing out trillions out of pop. The debt loads are skyrocketing. Keep in mind, there's only $5 trillion in debt back in the year 2000 when the second George Bush took office. He doubled it to 10. Obama doubled it to 20. I remember a couple of years ago joking about how they're not even talking about cuts, but when it's going to hit 30 trillion, and it's, I believe, now north of 27, with no signs of slowing down anytime in our near future. So again, I mean, I guess technically what he's saying is right, but nothing you can do can make them think they're looking at the world the wrong way. I mean, what are you supposed to look like? Okay, let's review. Jerome Powell channels Alan Greenspan in putting stamp on the Fed. I have not even read that one yet. I couldn't even imagine. Then the Philadelphia Inquirer mentioning Fed's Jay Powell creating zombie firm, says noted Fed watcher. Although I figured it out, I'll more formally make this revocation of everything I've been saying at SilverFest this weekend too, because it turns out the Fed does have a plan. Masks can lead to enormous economic gains. So I take it all back. I'm going to go sell my silver now. The masks are going to save the economy. So I take it back. I'm sorry, Jeff. I mean, I don't know what the SilverBugs were looking at. Things are great. The delays can be attributed to silver being less valuable than gold. So smelting enough bars to produce a quantity worth is more labor intensive. All right. So anyway, that's the gist of this one. This market, the only thing that counts is physical, physical and in your own possession. Which, I mean, I get the essence behind. I would say if you have $20 million of silver, do you want to put that all in your basement? I guess that's a personal question for each person to decide, but at least something to think about. And another fun thing to think about is how valuable compliance lessons from Scotiabank's $127 million penalty. Mentioned the CFTC in the beginning here. And the Department of Justice said it spanned an 8-year period, involved thousands, not a few, thousands of manipulated orders by 4 traders. I will take the over on 4 traders. For an ounce of silver, please. I don't know, am I legally allowed to create silver side prop markets? That would be fantastic. Perhaps, well, we'll call that unofficial to stay on the air here, although, gee, that would be fun. That was one of the things I loved the most from my trading days, is that you could always get someone to make a market on, what time lunch comes or really anything. I thought this was special. As I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, regulators also charged that the bank made false statements and incomplete disclosures. So basically, they spoofed thousands of times, lied about it. Now, here's James McDonald. I'm sure he's a nice guy, although we now have the tools, including through the development of our data analytics, to better test and verify the information we receive. I sure hope so, and I sure wish, I don't know, I mean, I guess he's commenting, not answering the questions that I have or that I think most silver investors have. I think I did try, and I did have someone send him an email to do an interview. As expected, I did not get that request granted. Here you see the fines. That's great. I'm glad. Record-setting $17 million penalty for making false and misleading statements to the CFTC. I mean, I guess that's another thing that I wanted to mention about this. Where, I mean, this is like a cost of business, or like a small tax. I mean, certainly the amount that it appears that they make by spoofing the market is exponential from the amount of the fine. And in the end, the fine goes back to the CFTC or the government or somewhere aside. I don't know any silver investor that has lost money. Well, I know plenty of silver investors that have lost money from this, but not that have been reimbursed. And I would not be as audacious as to offer any promises on that, except that I am looking into it, and I get emails from time to time from various people who watch the show that have a legal background, and keep an eye and see what might be possible, and at least keep you guys posted, report back. A few last stories here. I just thought the title here, Macron throws 100 billion euros at French economic relaunch. Throws 100 billion of them, like just toss them in, like he's playing baseball, or just throw it over there. These numbers, just 100 billion, like sure. What stimulus plans will be key for Macron's re-election 2022? Well, that's a good sign. I mean, I don't think there's any chance the money's not spent in the best manner for the people. Unveiled the long-awaited $100 billion euro stimulus plan the French president is betting on to transform the economy and his political fortunes with less than 2 years to go. I'm guessing, like most government plans, it will affect his political fortune. The economy will not do quite as well in response to this. It'll be about as successful as the U.S. economy was in response to Ben Bernanke's quantitative easing program, which we are still waiting to undo the effects of. Although fortunately, on the positive side here, here's a note from Silver Elephant Mining. John Lee, the CEO of Silver Elephant, was on the show a couple of weeks ago, and they had an announcement. Silver Elephant acquires Sunawayo silver project bordering historic 350 million ounce silver deposit project. And as you can see, they have a new deal. John talked about how they're basically rounding up as many ounces in the ground as they can find, which I thought was actually a pretty interesting strategy, because if you want silver but don't want to necessarily sell it at today's prices, and that was seemingly what John is doing. Fortunately, he can put it in his own words a bit more eloquently, which he will be doing at SilverFest this weekend, which now, if you're watching this on the live premiere on Wednesday, September 9th, means it's only 2 days away, and you can come right here. You can click that button to register, as now over 700 people have done. So a lot of silver investors are going to be there, silver market participants, you know, from the companies. We will actually have First Majestic Silver, Silver Elephant Mining, Silver Sands Resources. You met Keith Anderson earlier this year. And also Dolly Varden Silver are going to have booths and actual representation there. So certainly questions you have for them, you can find out. You can click here to register. And I would like to apologize. I know the schedule that comes up here is a little bit out of date. We've been confirming and getting everything lined up. So perhaps before, as we wrap up tonight, just give a look through. This is the final schedule, or going to be pretty close to it, save maybe a few last minute minor tweaks. But again, 6 to 8, these are all Eastern time zone times. Log in, meet and greet, and if I may make one quick note here. I mean, yes, I think there's going to be a lot of good silver information, investing information, and that you will get that. Although personally, in my opinion, just that you can connect with other people, that you can talk about this stuff with, so that you know, your friends are talking about treasuries now, and you want to be able to at least talk with other people who are seeing the same reality. I know a lot of people often feel like the lone wolf in their town. So I think that's the biggest advantage. And certainly, I guess, along those lines, whether you're just looking for people to talk to or business partners, is a variety. I find the silver crowd is often a very entrepreneurial crowd of good, loyal people that hopefully you'll get to meet. So we're going to have a meditation, yoga, stretch out the mind and body to start the day. Then getting kicked in. Welcome to SilverFest. We got David Morgan, the silver guru, going to give us a state of the silver market. We'll talk about how much silver was lost in COVID. Their SLV and the Trust really adding the metal. Got Andrew McGuire and Alistair McLeod for that. Here's one I'm darn excited about. The run on COMEX Silver is happening now. Badass Ronan Manley is going to check in. Wow. I would love to see Ronan Manley against the CFTC or JP Morgan in a courtroom. I mean, he's just such a fantastic researcher. And, you know, you'll get to see him there. Then, you know, we can't go too far into the morning with that. We'd already have given away silver, but then John Lee and Silver Elephant, some coffee and silver to go. Then we'll get a physical market update. We'll give away some big silver shorts. Then lunchtime in the Silver Elephant mining booth. I'll be hanging out in there. Certainly, it's going to be, if you have questions for me, certainly this is the time to, one of the times, not the last time, but I'll be making myself available. A lot of these, the lunch breaks, you know, I'd really love to introduce people, help get people connected, get to know each other. So we'll be doing that with Silver Elephant. Then picking great silver stocks. An hour with David Morgan, Peter Spina, and Chris Mark Chase. Then we'll give away some more silver. What's the price of First Majestic when silver crosses 50 bucks? I know a lot of people are excited about that. So we have Jeff Clark and David Morgan. Then we'll have some talks about Silver Elephant. Some more on the mining stocks. Andrew O'Donnell, the great Jerry Huang, the most handsome guy in the sector from Gemini Capital. You've seen Jerry before, a good friend, and he just, it's funny, I think you guys know I moved recently, so I was thinking, it'd be nice to get like some new clothes and stuff. Maybe I could get Jerry to take me shopping. I'm sure he'll look sharp. And one of my dear friends, Rob Keynes of Gold Silver Pros, and then a mining stock roundtable. Keith Newmeyer is going to be joining us. I know a lot of folks excited to hear from Keith. We'll have a First Majestic video, then give away some more Silver Sands, courtesy of my good friend Keith Anderson of Silver Sands Resources. European perspective on silver with Florian Grumes, aka Florzinho. Midas Touch, was great having him on the show. Here's a chance we'll have some fun stuff together to get people networking and talking, introduced. Ask the Experts, David Morgan, Dave Kranzler, and I'll be on that one too. I don't know if I'm an expert, but we'll be taking some questions there. Then The Big Short at night, and then even we'll got another hour there. So you can, some of the booths will be open 24/7, and but we'll make sure we have some sleep in there somewhere, because early in the morning on Sunday, more meditation, a little stretching. Then I'm excited about the group mastermind. For anyone who's read any Napoleon Hill and how our intentions and the power of our beliefs, when multiplied, can grow quite exponentially. So we can visualize life with $50 plus silver and imagine how we'll all be celebrating, which I think will be a fun little exercise to try. It's optional, so if it sounds too far out there, you don't have to join in. Although, wonder if we can get Kranzler to participate in that. We'll find out. I'll ask him tomorrow. When do you sell your silver with James Anderson? Bix, I'm excited to hear his thoughts on, should JP Morgan be allowed to continue trading gold and silver now that they've been recognized as a criminal enterprise and some of their traders charged with the RICO statute? Gata was right. My friends Chris Powell and Bill Murphy have been explaining this for 20 years. And then we'll give away more silver. We'll take storage and vaulting questions. Maurice Jackson talking about, will silver be used as money again? The Laura Stein Silver Ounce giveaway. Option trading time. Lunch with First Majestic. Hunt Brothers. Warren Buffett. History of silver with G. Edward Griffin, a.k.a. the Fonz of the freedom movement, in my opinion. Alex Newman and Scott Craig. More silver giveaways. How high will the silver price go? With Dr. Jim Willie, who's going to have his own booth. So if you want to get in there and talk with Dr. Jim, you will be able to do that. I'm 90% on that. He said yes. I think he's going to do it. It'll be a blast if he does. Dr. Mark Faber, Chris Vermillion with some technical. Ted Butler talking about the turnover on the COMEX. I will air my silver manipulation smoking gun, which some of you saw before, right in front of Ask Denver Dave, and then Ask the Experts, Q&A, Schechtman, Holter, happy hour, dinner, networking, and more. So there you go. That's what is going down this weekend. On a little side note, there will not be content airing on the Arcadia channel this weekend because all of this is going down. So with that said, I hope to see you there. If you like silver, if you've been enjoying this channel and find this stuff fun, helpful, entertaining, or any mix of the above, I think you're going to love it. I feel blessed to be part of it and all the great people we have coming together. So again, it is free to log in at 10. Just go to Arcadia Economics. You can go right on the homepage, click there to register, or you can click this snazzy SilverFest 2020 tab that my beautiful team has put on there for me. The updated schedule will be up there shortly, so I bear with your patience on that. This is my first time hosting a conference, so fortunately, I think everything has come along just feel incredible, and I think we're going to have a blast. I will look forward to seeing you there. Thank you, as always, for being here. And if you're wondering if anybody else is, if it's just me, or if anyone else is thinking there might be something to this silver thing, well then click here for this video. That is coming your way now.